As the Winder community continues to grieve the tragedy that left 2 students and 2 teachers dead, state and local leaders are now looking at how to prevent further gun violence like this from happening again. In a new video released by the city of Atlanta, Mayor Andre Dickens offered his condolences to the students, staff, and families affected by the violence at Appalachian High School. He also called for change, saying he wants to see a ban on assault weapons and high-capacity magazines. He also wants to require safe gun storage, adopt universal background checks, and implement red flag laws.
Unless we reduce access to guns by enacting common sense legislation, the gun violence epidemic will continue to plague us, and worse, our children will continue to pay the price.
Now, Dickens says programs like gun buybacks should help keep high-powered weapons out of the hands of the wrong people. On the other side of the aisle and on the issue, we spoke with Melanie Collier, a political consultant, and she is a part of the Georgia GOP. She worries any laws restricting gun access could infringe on the Second Amendment.
Laws are going to be broken. And what is actually happening, rather than it being an attempt to limit and provide security or safety, what is happening is you're diminishing the rights of the law-abiding citizen.
Here in Georgia, Governors Nathan Deal and Brian Kemp expanded gun rights over the last decade. An 11 Alive News analysis shows 72 gun bills were introduced in the last 2-year legislative session, 90% of them from Democrats. Only one of them passed. It was a Republican bill outlawing discrimination against the firearms industry. Well, joining me now is Kristen Welker from NBC's Meet the Press. Kristen, good morning. Now, Georgia continues to reel from a mass shooting at Appalachian High School that took the lives of 2 teachers and 2 students. Where do you think both former President Donald Trump and Vice President Kamala Harris stand when it comes to legislation surrounding guns? And do you think that this topic will be a deal breaker for parents and voters who are still on the fence?
Well, we'll have to see. Look, I think this is going to be a big topic at the debate in just 2 days, Angelina. And so what we have heard so far from these candidates, very different responses to the horrific shooting in Georgia. Vice President Kamala Harris calling for new gun safety measures, everything from expanded background checks to red flag laws, even a ban on assault weapons. For his part, former President Trump not calling for new policies. Instead, his vice presidential running mate, saying that there needs to be a focus on school security. So it will be very interesting to see how they talk about this at the debate. I have to say, I covered the Trump administration in 2018 after the Parkland shooting, which was so tragic and left the entire nation grieving. Former President Trump held a meeting at the White House with some of the victims' family members, not just of that mass shooting, but of others, and really expressed a willingness to impose some new gun safety measures. He then backed away from that and has now touted the fact that there were no new expansive gun safety measures when he was in office. So we'll have to see how this plays out. But you are right. Here we are again discussing yet another school shooting, which has left one community and this entire nation grieving and just shattered.
No doubt Georgians definitely want to hear what both of them have to say. And of course, that debate is just less than 2 days away from both of these candidates facing off against one another. What do you think the other topics they need to hit on to win voters over?
Well, Angelina, look, I think that they're going to be pressed on a range of different topics, everything from the economy to immigration, reproductive rights. And I think that what they say is going to be as important as how they say it. Think about it. Vice President Kamala Harris is really still in the process of reintroducing herself to Americans. So she's going to be pressed to try to really lay out clearly, how would a Harris administration differ from a Biden administration? Why has she shifted policy positions on some critical issues, from a ban on fracking to criminalizing the border, Medicare for all, to name just a few? For his part, though, former President Trump's really struggled to figure out what his strategy is against Kamala Harris. He's experimented with a range of different attack lines. Do we see a clear line of attack come forward at the debate? Or does he listen to his allies who say, don't engage in personal attacks, focus on the policy issues? That's the way to win in 2024. This race could not be any tighter. Angelina, latest New York Times Siena College poll shows that Trump is leading by 1 point within the margin of error. So it's basically all tied up for now, Angelina.
Definitely. And you did mention the economy, too, and it's continued to be in the spotlight as inflation is impacting so many people's wallets. What do you think Americans want to hear when Mr. Trump and Kamala Harris take the stage on Tuesday?
Well, I think they're going to want to hear their economic policies, and notably, each candidate has started to lay those out. We've heard Vice President Kamala Harris talk about the fact that she wants to impose a ban on price gouging of groceries. She wants to lower the rate at which capital gains are taxed for top income earners. A little bit controversial within the Democratic Party, but also an appeal to those who are more moderate voters. For his part, we've heard former President Trump talk about the fact that he's going to impose a robust set of tariffs and that he's also going to extend the 2017 Trump-era tax cuts. So a lot to chew on there in terms of how both would impact the economy and their visions for the economy moving forward. How will the middle class be impacted by both of these policies? I think that's going to be a big topic of debate on Tuesday night.
We look forward to hearing them both. Kristen, thank you so much. Meet the Press airs at 10 right after 11 Alive Weekend Morning News. Don't forget, the Georgia Vote is your trusted source for a comprehensive look at the issues important to you and your family this election year. Join Faith Jesse and Zach Merchant at 11 a.m. right after Meet the Press. The Georgia Vote is also streaming on 11 Alive Plus.